wave clear, but they are champions that really round out the composition here that TL is drafting for, and they're compositionally good as far as throwing the ult in the backline on top of the Galio ult, you know, all of these types of tools. So I'm curious to see where they go. If they want to play something that enables dive, you could always go Sivir, you could go Jhin. I think those are picks that, you know, are relatively okay in lane, but the problem is Caitlyn's still up. So it's like if you go something like Sivir and you have a weak laning phase, then it could be really tough. So instead they're going to go Xayah, which obviously is always a great answer into the Vi, very easy to ult the ult from Vi. But that being said, you can really struggle against range in the 2v2. Yeah. So I am worried about, like, what if they just go Caitlyn Karma or something like that, you know? Yeah, I know Karma's been nerfed a lot, but you could just go like a long-range pokey-style bot lane, rely on the Vi for engage, and just play to dominate the 2v2. And so that's my big concern, is they just go, yeah, Caitlyn Karma, Caitlyn Lux, Caitlyn whatever. Instead it's going to be Zeri Yuumi. I think almost for sure they're going to go Zeri Yuumi if they're going to lock the Zeri. But
makes a lot of sense, and you highlighted it well, right? But also Xayah's a champion who, I think similar to the Victor that you mentioned earlier in the draft, so good when enemy champions have to fight into her, but she's not that AD carry who can instantly follow up on whatever Galio Nefiri play you're trying to make, so bit of a disconnect there.
Okay.
Maybe instead...
Considering the Lulu, I mean, Lulu's great as well, right? You know, you have really, really effective peel. If you time your wild growth, you can actually knock the dash in from Nefiri, which is really frustrating for Nefiri. And it's going to make it really tough for Jose, because you go in, you get polymorphed. Core, I feel like he's the kind of player who, we're down 2 games. If this is the pick, this is the pick, right? He's not going to be phased by the moment. If he believes it is the best pick, he's going to go blitz, win or lose. He's going to be okay with that because he believes it is the strongest pick. Whether or not you are actually going to go blitz, it's hard to know. I would respect the hell out of it, but Rakan is more common. He's got a world skin on it, and this is absolute comfort for him. It is going to be one of the best of 5, but they could beat a lot of the other teams, I feel like, in the main stage. So we'll see. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to change the format here, and they're going to have to win 3 in a row if they want to earn it themselves, get there of their own merit.
But you tried, and that's the important thing.
I did. A man can dream.
For the NA representatives, is FaZe and Keria expected to be pretty comfortable in this early lane phase. They're not the most oppressive early on, but when you have a Lulu standing next to you up against a Rakan, it feels like a pretty favorable bot lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you do have that range advantage, right? But I do think it's a better level 1 than before. Unfortunately, Core did miss the Q, the Gleaming Quill, and it's such a big difference on these trades, not only because of the damage, but the positive trade of dealing the damage and getting the heal is so big. And he is going to be able to hit that one. A lot of Rakan's lane really is down to how many Qs can you hit, because that is going to allow you to chip them away and keep you topped off.
Yep. Double value on the hit, getting the damage and the healing, double loss on that miss, so something we'll keep an eye on. Checking in on the early jungle pathing, it looks like T1 have laid down a bit of vision there to spot it out. But reminder, if you're watching MSI, you might as well get rewarded for it. You should get rewarded. You deserve it. So head on over to LawEsports.com, Isaac, and anyone else, log in with your ride idea and watch live for a chance to get those MSI 2026 drops.
I think I will. You can solo cast this one. I'll go log in.
Maybe this is like we could just talk about our boy FaZe, as it seems appropriate at this point in the series. We're going to have to hold that thought, because there's a hot dog. There's a Glizzy on the bottom side. He's looking to make himself known.
Core is still level 1, though. They need level 2 before they can even pretend that this could work.
Ozidiodo on the way. FaZe jumping over the wall, going a completely different direction from Keria. You just cannot follow him. That would just take too much time. It's too uncertain. Good reaction from FaZe.
Yeah, he's going to lose a couple minions, so... You know, it's still a bit annoying, but well handled there by FaZe. The real question is, can Owner do anything about it? And this is FaZe stats from last game, 1532 damage per minute. That's the second highest damage per minute internationally all time. Number 1, of course, is Sneaky, as everyone knew, back in 2017 on Caitlyn against WE in the World's quarterfinals. Back when C9 made those.
That's true. Back when they qualified for international events. Yes, flash from Faker. Nice little advantage for the mid lane matchup. But Owner, takes presence zone in the bottom lane. Flashback from Core. Now they need to get the hell out. Polymorph already there on Jan. Ball breaker, where's it going to go? Turns back. Instant reaction from Jan is good, but it will not save his support.
Yeah, that's just beautifully played there by Owner. They knew that Core had used his flash, and then he had 1 charge of his E. So it's just kind of that mind game. And basically, Owner held the Vault Breaker so long that Core's second charge of his E is going to expire. He's got to use it, and then so he just has it timed out perfectly, gets in. And this is really just the anti-timing for TL. They had them in a position where they could actually 2v2 kill them. Keria is Keria is low. And then look at this. I mean, there's just nothing he can really do about it, because if you don't use that second E charge, you don't have a way out. You're dead.
Yep.
If you do, and Owner predicts perfectly, as he did, well, guess what? You're dead too.
Yeah, good patience, as you highlighted, really does make the difference in those key moments. Is some more trading on the top side. Morgan doing all right here, getting that prio early on, but not too great of an advantage quite yet. It's really only Owner and Pays who are starting to build up those individual leads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, there is no flash now on Keria, so no summoner is available for him. But the same is true on the side of TL. They are both missing their flashes. Jan's going to have his barrier back, but you would love to see them try to take out Keria with no flash, but that's so tough to do. They have all these wards. You can see all the question mark pings on Jose. They know exactly where he is, so Pays and Keria should be really easily able to avoid that. And Quid is just kind of slowly getting whittled away on, is falling behind in CS.
Yeah. And we've seen TL fall behind in this series and find good fights to come back, but this is an especially difficult game to do it. Once you get your ults, you can see the angle with Core on this big engage pick. But again, if you fall too far behind, you highlighted it so well. It's just so easy for Faker and Pays to kite back, to just step away from what is a very linear comp in terms of engage. You really need Core to be this unexpected element out of Fog of War, or it's pretty easy to flash back and win a fight.
Yeah, which we have seen him do, right? You know, we saw him have that big moment at the Dragon last time.
Now a bit of trading here. Dark and Daggers from Jose Dioto as he just immediately backs off. One of the strengths you highlighted on Nefiri, right? Pretty easy to get out of dodge on those short trades.
Going to be able to hop over walls, you know, take those trades. But Owner had the jump on him, and he's going to have to retreat because Faker had first move. And so this should be an easy dragon for T1. Bot lane has prio. Jose got pushed out top. Quid is pushed in mid. There's nothing TL really can do about it. So Jan just going to be looking to clear this out. Of course, you know, they have vision on the dragon, so Jan's not worried that he's about to get dove. That's why he can stay around when Core is basing. If they didn't have that ward, it's a lot scarier, right? Because Owner could be behind you in the brush.
Yeah, probably would have forced Core to stay as well, but good that TL were able to set up enough vision to ensure that they could get that wave for Jan. Still falling behind a bit, but not too much, as both AD carries clearly just comfortable stacking their coals, trading waves back and forth.
Yep. And I mean, we saw kind of the early trades going the way of Pays and Keria. But when Jan and Core got it to a place where they actually could look for an all-in, that is when Owner is there, and that is the beauty of the top level of team play, right? There are these windows where in certain matchups you are going to be weak, you are going to be vulnerable, and you want your jungler there at that moment. And Owner was there at the perfect time. Not only does he save them, he gets the first blood, which is going to be so nice for T1, who are again out to an early over 1K gold lead here at 6 minutes. Not as bad as last game by any means. Last game was 2K at 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But it is still obviously very bad, especially against a team that scales really, really well, as T1's does.
Yeah, and it's just, it's difficult. You would like for TL to be able to find a little bit more here in the early game, but T1 has just been so consistently ahead in that regard.
And another ward there caught Jose, so he has just been perma-warded out, it feels like, the whole game. As he finished off those Raptors, the ward expired from T1, but there were pings on him. They know exactly where he is, and that is making it very hard for him to really look for any angles. He does have level 6, as does Owner, and so their first look is going to be pretty big. You know, you're looking for Core and Jose to try to find that big engage, Quid to be there to follow it up, Morgan to be on a flank. It's got to be that kind of a beautiful play, really well coordinated, or I think you can expect Petrifying Gaze and Zeri kiting back and all of these tools to be used to easily disengage and then potentially chase down.
Yeah. Tough. Ooh, Ultra Shock Laser. Would have just clipped Jan as he sidesteps here, forced to stay in lane. Pays and Keria, once again, comfortable in the early stages, kind of as expected, but now with that late game scaling power is Faker about to get locked up. Miasma trying to disengage. Good patience coming in for Jose Dioto, but an even better interrupt coming in from Owner. Jose Dioto desperately tries to disengage the poison, not quite enough to finish him.
That was really well done by Owner. The Q flash into the ult, the perfect CC. Otherwise, Faker is dead, because Faker has no flash, mind you. It's just coming up now. So that was really well timed. And both Quid and Jose were able to predict and backstep and avoid the Petrifying Gaze. So beautifully done. But again, Owner to the rescue here. Saves the day in the bot lane, saves the day in the mid lane. It is going to cost him his flash as well as his ult, but this was beautifully timed. So again, they're trying to set this up. Really nice timing as Jose comes out of over the wall. The Petrifying Gaze avoided by both members, but then look at this. Q flash, from Fog. So no way for Jose to actually react with the invulnerability. Yes, Jose does live thanks to the ulti magic shield that came down from Quid. But now Doran is moving here. Jose is coming. Faker has first move. This looks tough for TL.
The way. Doran quickly trying to stack the pass as much as you can. Grim Deliverance coming out. Jose Diodo targetable for a brief moment as he fires back on the daggers, but they don't miss. Instant flash in coming in from Morgan, trying to interrupt Owner as best he can. Owner right on top of Quid. Flashing from Faker. Miasma to stop any potential fall. Jose Diodo getting lower and lower, but the Dark and Daggers healing him up just in time. Morgan desperate to kill Faker. Knows he can't finish off Doran as long as that passive bar is stacked, and Doran happy to take him down.
Nicely done there by T1, winning out for a huge fight on the top side. The setup really wasn't there for TL. They were always kind of like down on health at the beginning of that fight, and it felt like T1 was always going to have the third man there faster. They don't have Galio ult. They don't have some of these really big tools, but they felt they needed to force. But, I mean, look at Quid at the start of this fight, right? He has very little mana, has basically no health, so Quid can't really do much of anything. I do think Morgan plays it well, but Doran stacks the passive, which means he's not a target. Morgan has to try to take down Faker, but Faker sinking in those Twin Fangs, kiting it out really, really well. And Quid, smile on his face, but you know that they can feel it slipping away.
And you already see how hard the extended fights are. Even with the dominance from Morgan, just the constant Twin Fang damage. Doran, the longer he stays in that fight, stacking up the passive, just getting more and more AD. That much harder to kill, especially once the passive revive is up and available. Got another taunt in the mid lane. Owner there once again to cover. The gold lead growing to 2.3K. 2 grubs and the Drake. So T1 really not giving anything back to Team Liquid Alienware. And Doran, of course, a player we're highlighting. One of the big differences why we're seeing almost an even more dominant performance from T1 here is that he was falling behind in so many of the games in the previous series. This time around, not the same story.
Yeah, not at all. I think Morgan has played well overall for sure, but definitely was just destroying Doran in the last one. It's not been like that at all. Doran has outplayed him in this series, absolutely. Has had the bigger impact, it feels like. And so it is going to be really, really tough now because TL are playing this hard engage comp with what feels like 3 losing lanes at this point, and Jose's getting warded out everywhere, and T1 are getting all the objectives, right? So when you're in a spot like that, it is very, very tough because if they see the engage coming, it's hard to imagine them dying to it, and TL are going to have to be picture perfect when they do actually pull the trigger and try to find a committed fight.
And the longer we go, the bigger that deficit gets, the higher and higher the stakes get for that big defining moment, that big fight. T1 in control of the area. Vision already laid down his page, just tries to poke, chip away at health bars. Owner's attention still focused on the Drake. Jose might be looking to make it a 50-50. The only one he's won so far is when he was able to turn off the lights with Nocturne. Owner out of position. Drake going to the side of T1.
TL are going to try to zone them off, though. They're going to try to keep them away from bot lane. Yan is going to go push, so Jose and Core are here to harass, while they're pushing in mid lane as well. So I still think this is pretty nice from TL. If you can't go for the fight, if you can't go for the smite fight, then you have to try to get what you can elsewhere. Paze goes back to base. They're going to steal away a blue buff. They're going to zone him off. You know, maybe a couple minions. Not a huge amount, but...
Keria. Charm Flash, immediate ult's going to come through. Wild Growth now to follow. Paze, though, happy for this. He knows they've burned all their cooldowns, and they want to keep the fight going. Owner charging in. Q forward, not quite enough range to engage, but the ulti coming out. Response ult there from Yan.
Well handled on both sides, honestly. The Core does spend his flash, though, and that is the big difference. That's such an important summoner. Quid, though, getting behind them, and Faker's gone back to mid with no TP.
Faker not able to join. Quid looking to turn back on Owner. Instantaneous flash coming out. Jose Diodo, the Darkened Daggers, got to keep track of that cooldown. If they land, it could be a big difference. Keria not going to get locked up, flashing his own way out. Lock up there on Jose Diodo. Quick dash over the wall, but Faker doesn't need the TP. He's arriving just in time on the flank. Yan tries to turn it back, desperate to get a kill. Miasma onto 2. The taunt not enough. The petrifying gaze. Team Liquid turn to stone as T1 take the fight.
T1 up 4,000 gold, a triple kill for Paze. And TL are in a world of trouble now if they weren't before. Down 4.5K, super fed Zeri, didn't even have to use the summoners on the fight. I respect the attempt from TL because they know they are going to kind of get outscaled. They need to go aggressive, but it's a great flash from Keria, which means the Galio ult does nothing. Then they're focusing Jose. TL can't fight on top of the tower because they'll get destroyed by it, so they're forced to just retreat. And Faker had just booked it down to bot lane, even though he didn't have the TP. They delayed enough that he arrives, hits a Petrifying Gaze, takes out Yon, and it is everyone gone from TL. 4 kills to 0 there. And TL are going to be in so much trouble. FaZe is ridiculously fed. Going to be working towards that second item, about to cash in on his call.
Oy.
It's tough.
It certainly is. You know, Isaac, they say no one is above the law, but T1 is certainly above TLAW at this point in the game. There is, it's looking grim. And look, I still,
I hate you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Very funny.
Little dad joke, lighten the mood, you know, when you're getting stomped. Let's take a look at the Coinbase Gold Grind. Flawless segue.
Good news here, Shirley.
No, really. Cut the tape.
Bring it down. Get it down.
Thank you, Coinbase. But
the stats aren't always indicative.
Telling us what we already know. You're right, they aren't. But in this case, they are, as Owner might be solo killing Morgan. Very close. No, he's not. Morgan bringing it back as quick. Engages with Doran on the bottom side. Grim Deliverance trying to get back. Faker hoping for the 1v1. Fury bar stacked, but he can't get wiped back in the book. Nice healing coming in from Morgan. Dash through. Morgan! 2 members back to back. 2 1v1s. He gets it. Resurrection coming in from Doran. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane. Backs up. Morgan, are you kidding me?
From nowhere, a little bit of hope here for TL as Morgan comes to life here. He is behind and he just 1v2 took out Owner and Faker there. That was brilliantly done by Morgan. Doran does survive on the bot side, so they can't get the shutdown there, and they're still down 5K. But
you said sliver. It's sliver of hope.
A sliver of hope.
We might get a whole piece of hope.
I can't even see it, but I can smell the hope.
You can smell the hope. You can see not in the circular graph of which team has hope. But
it's like a molecule of hope.
Yeah, on the side it says that there's a 0.01 or something.
I need a high-powered microscope.
Get the electron microscope
Someone
out.
get me the Hubble telescope.
We know it's there. We have to find it. It's still grim.
Somewhere we're searching the skies.
Yeah, well played by Morgan. Really punishing, I think, over-aggression there from T1. It has been so key to keeping a lot of these games close. But at this point in the game, it does feel maybe a bit too far gone. Though we'll see what the next plays have in store for us. You're right. I take it back. It's a close game. Anybody could take it.
Never say never. We'll see if Morgan can make some magic happen. But T1 very well set up for this Herald. It's going to be really tough to get in. And when you're this far behind, we'll see.
Oh, knock up there. Ulti going in onto Pays. Pays, though, just so fast. Ulti already popped, just getting so much additional movement speed. Owner looking for the lockup. Galio finally coming in, but as is the Grim Deliverance. TL getting a little bit more as Morgan now on a killing spree. Hosage off to the side, but he can't re-engage. 1 for 0 in TL's favor.
Really well handled there by TL, and then they actually kite out Pays' ulti. So they are going to be able to stop him from just chasing them down, but that really is all they do because the Herald still did go to T1. He's by a wall.
He feels like he's just teasing him. Nice backstep from Jose, but Faker fast enough to zoom out of that one.
Yeah, they're going to try to get the objective bounty, which has spawned, but this is tough. T1 is still around here. Owner is running from base. Faker is going to base, has no TP, so T1 making the call to just give it up. So will be an objective bounty, so more than just the 1 kill is actually gained at the end of the day. TL playing some of these skirmishes really well, as I feel like they have in a number of games. But it is always just so tough. You know, you win some early skirmishes, you get some little advantages, but this team is just so tough to actually knock down. It's very rare that T1 just collapses in a team fight, you know, that you can actually get the whole thing. Sometimes you just get a little bit, you get a slight edge, but then when T1 get their fight, it feels like they wipe you, they get so much more, and that is kind of the devastating effect that they seem to have in these fights.
You land a blow, you get a little chip on the paint. They land a blow, you're dead. Oh, whoops.
You got punched through the wall.
You punched through the wall. It's a little bit tough. And at this point, it only gets harder as the goal discrepancy continues to grow. And really, again, Pays, the hero of the series in so many of these games, especially Game 2, and most certainly here, looking set up to do so by his support carrier in Game 3. 2.5 items. And the later we go, the harder it is going to be to lock this man down. And you can see the few attempts that Team Liquid Alienware have been close, but not enough to actually get that kill, not enough to actually shut this man down.
And Morgan getting pressured here on the bot side. Herald is there. Can't really do much about this defense. They're trying to play on the other side, but Faker is a tough dive under the tower at full health. And stacking up towards that Seraphs. Would love to have that shield. Is going to be working in towards Catalyst here. And looks like Doran gonna just drift his way out.
Not too far, though. Wants to recall. Not interested in taking the full ride.
Trying to get his steps in, buddy.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair. You got to be
not a lazy top lane.
That's true. Healthy lifestyle. You got to respect it.
Yeah.
Morgan, he tried. He had a good fight on the top side, and does have the dominance in level 13. And I mean, that Renekton ult can do a lot of work, but again, I think we painted a pretty clear picture here. The later we go, the harder it gets. But for FaZe, finally on his lonesome, might be the angle, but he still had the flash. The extra damage with the dagger is not there. Yawn now in trouble. Heal going in. Ulti coming out from Yawn. Flash forward from Owner. The extra shield from the barrier. Getting a bit more space. Quid on the way. Trying to get him out with the taunt. The shield is there, but Dorn might just finish it. Pulls him right back in. No escapes today.
FaZe survives there. The one darkened dagger missing from Jose means they don't quite have the damage to take him down. And despite some good reactions from Yawn as Owner was going forward, it just didn't matter. T1 now 6.6k ahead, pushing on this tower. Faker wasn't even there. He's pushing top lane. And T1 just keep getting away with these fights, as they always seem to do. They always seem to get out with just that blinking health bar. Equal to the task once again.
Well played. Again, landing both the daggers, so crucial for Jose Diodo, but just that little miss, that little difference adds up. And we expected to see the big 5-on-5s. We expected to see the big fights from this composition, but Team Liquid haven't found those angles. They found little pick opportunities, but even those have been going awry. It only makes it that much harder, as Doran now debating if he wants to run into Morgan here.
Yeah, and Faker just looked for a pick and brush. You can see core is low and Faker has no ult, so 2 + 2 equals a petrified gaze.
Yep.
And we'll see this one more time. So here it is. This one darkened dagger does miss. It looks like over to the right. FaZe, flashing the second as well. So maybe part of the first one tagged him. It's hard to tell because it is kind of a fat animation. The second one definitely got avoided there by FaZe, so well played by him. Yawn is able to cancel the Vial and has the barrier, lands a nice root, but Quid realizes the fight is done, so he doesn't even want to go in there and try to peel for Yawn. Eventually someone was going to get one auto on Yawn and he would just die, so Quid decides he's just got to try to get out of there and live to fight another day.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. Reminder that at the conclusion of this series, which of course will be in 2 games when we go to Silver Scrapes, we'll be having the draw. Now, people have already kind of done the math on the draw. We know the winner of this will play against BLG. G2 are already set to play TES. But if you're an NA fan, finding out who Lion plays is going to be very important for your mood after this particular series. So be sure to stick around.
Well, we can't play BLG, so that's a dub.
That's pretty good.
And we can't play T1,
so that's
another dub. But you know what?
You could play.
I'm kind of down to see them play anyone. It'll be fun. Main stage is going to be a lot of fun, seeing all the #1 seeds coming in from all these different regions. It's going to be exciting to see how they can perform. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by Furia as well. I think they're a really strong team, so it should be fun to watch a lot of these teams, the big names as well as those who aren't as well known. But we'll see if TL can find a way to hang on in this game where T1 have 2 dragons to 1 and looking for a chase down here.
Just trying to make his way out. We'll get the retreat, but is forced away that side lane. Not getting any easier.
No, it's going to be tough. And Quid has no TP. Faker does. So Faker can just continue to play towards that top side while T1 do look to set up around this dragon. It's probably unlikely that they're going to be able to contest it very effectively, but TL basically just have to make their judgment. They know they're insanely behind. They know that FaZe is on 3 items with an IE at 21 minutes. Like, that's ridiculous. They're not blind to that fact. Basically, every fight will look like a bad fight. You are looking for the fight that looks like as good as you can get.
Fight.
You know what I mean?
Even fight is a miracle at this point.
A 1%er is probably what most of the fights are. So if you see a 5% chance, you are going to take it, and that's where they are. That's what they have to try to look for. Now, they are aware, I think, that T1 could be trying to sneak this, but the question is, can they get over there?
It's a good question. So much vision. Jose Diodo spotted. TP there. Jose has access to the flash. The miasma slowing him down, opting to retreat instead of go deeper and try to play for the 50-50. Ulti in from core. JJ Pays immediately gets out and turns to punish. Yawn going right back in the air. The feathers pulling back. It's good damage, but it is simply not enough. Pays too quick on the trigger. Core's engaged. Not enough. Oh, they're going to look to set him up. That's the triple. Looking for 4. The entire team ready to tank. Oh, Quadra coming in.
He's looking for the Penta. He wants to get it.
A Penta to finish it.
And what better way to do it? Pays gets the Penta kill here to seal the deal.
Incredible stuff from the side of T1. undefeated through the entirety of the play-ins. No doubt they were the favorites, but this level of dominance is incredible to see. A last desperate hold from the second seed of the LCS. They played their heart outs, but it was not enough in the face of the three-time champs. T1 taking their time, taking it to the fountain, sending a message to all the teams waiting in the main stage, and especially to BLG as they clean sweep Team Liquid Alienware.
The king is coming. Faker and T1.